Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Safer podcast. I am Josh, and once again, joining me today is Charbel
What's up?
and Rants.
Oh no! Oh no!
What'd you
I'm
call him?
Rants. You're not going to
me-
get it. It would take
Called me a
way too
hentai knight.
long. Way too long to explain.
Oh god. So I wanted to open up this podcast with something Amph told me earlier in the week. He's found a new favorite video on the internet. It's called Goosh Goosh. I don't know too much about it, but Amph tells me that he loves it. So I don't know if anyone listening to this knows what Goosh Goosh is or wants to look it up. It'll give you an idea of what Amph watches in his spare time. And yeah, so moving on from that, because I feel like I've embarrassed Amph enough.
No, go on.
Okay,
Yeah, go
yeah.
on.
I completely forgot what I was going to say.
Go on.
No, I'm kidding. I'm joking. But okay, serious note now. I want to start this with a bit of a touchy topic. Are you guys aware that 6 Days in Fallujah has shown off a gameplay trailer?
Alright,
No.
I've only heard like the media spin of 6 Days of Fallujah, so I'm going to need some context here.
Alright, so 6 Days in Fallujah, do you know the history behind it? Behind the actual title?
No.
So it was a game that was obviously about the Battle of Fallujah, and it's set in the Iraq War. But the game garnered heavy pushback from not only the media but the public too. In particular, there were people whose family had died in Fallujah that were protesting the game, saying, "Can we not make a game out of this? That it might be a bit insensitive and things like that." So for, a good few years, the project was cancelled. Recently, they announced that, we're actually going to make the game. And 6 Days in Fallujah, I watched the gameplay trailer. It's sort of SOCOM-ish, I guess. You can, give your squad, commands and things like that.
Right.
But they've marketed it as a very, very tense game. It's absolutely the idea of peeking through a door is gonna make you shit yourself if you don't know what's on the other side. You might
Okay,
kick
so
it.
that sounds pretty tense.
Yeah. So it's
Yeah.
like you kick in the front door and there might be a machine gun in front of you, or it might be a family of 4. But
This reminds me of This War of Mine.
I was gonna say the same thing. Yeah.
now the game is garnering controversy again. A change.org petition has started. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but it's making the rounds on Twitter. And a lot of, well-known, game designers and just other people in the industry are getting behind this petition.
Right.
The petition is calling for the United Nations to ban this game.
Oh, I don't know about that.
The premise behind the petition is that, there were several war crimes in the Iraq War, and making a game out of it isn't really the best thing to do for the people who were affected by the war.
I suppose not.
And so, people are saying, let's not dramatize the things that happened during that war. Which
But are they glorifying it though?
It's tough to say. I think whenever you make a game out of anything, it glorifies it slightly.
I mean, yeah, you have a point there. It does.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
can see
Even
that,
if you
yeah.
take some of the saddest games, they still glorify, or at least in parts of each game, they'll glorify certain things. But that's just part of making a game.
That's the nature of having it be controllable.
The only thing that I'm a bit skeptical of is whether this petition's actually going to lead to anything. I say this with all due respect to anyone who's signed it, and everything. Wanting a game to be cancelled is one thing. Petitioning the UN to do it, I'm not too sure about that. I feel like they've got more important things to do than worry about games.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I don't
Yeah.
know if it's the best idea to get the UN to do this.
Yeah. Well, it's I don't understand it. I feel like games are an art form, and I feel like you can use any art form to push the boundaries of what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Music and movies have done that for decades.
And it's not like gaming isn't like foreign to it either.
Oh no, there have definitely been some games that have touched on some very very touchy topics.
Yes, very much so.
Like
Yeah, I can name a few at the top of my head, but
Yeah.
probably not gonna say.
the most controversial part of the trailer is during the trailer you see like how you do a sweep of a house in the game,
Right?
and there's a bit where you're going down into a dark basement, and there happens to be a family of 4 hiding in there, and the trailer sort of cuts abruptly there. And during the trailer, they had interviews from former soldiers, former United States soldiers. But when they cut that trailer at the end where you meet the family, they had someone from Fallujah talking about his experience. He was just a civilian, and he was obviously born and raised there. And he was talking about how his parents were, in his words, very old school, and they wouldn't leave Fallujah. They were like, oh well, if we die here, we die here. They
Right.
didn't want to escape. And at the very least, if you consider this game to be offensive, in any way, shape, or form, I can definitely understand why. I mean, I get it. If I had gone through something, similar to that, I wouldn't want a game about it being made either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, also, I think part of the reason this is getting so much controversy is because not only because of the actions of certain US soldiers, but it's still a relatively fresh war. Like, it was controversial when it was happening, and like till this day there are still people dealing with the fallout of what happened. If someone was to say, "Oh, I'll make a game about World War One," we've had decades to process that.
Yeah.
Whereas we haven't had it in this case with the Iraq War.
Okay,
what do you guys think?
This is a bit of a tough subject. Whilst I agree that certain topics should probably not be glorified in games. They shouldn't be. And I agree that especially like real life events are very tricky, because do you trust a studio to be able to not only do it justice but to be respectful while doing it, and to make sure that they're getting all their information right? Because I think if you can do that, then I think it would be fine.
Well, in terms of getting the information right, the studio behind it has said multiple times that they've been in contact with not only US soldiers that served during the battle, but also, as they showed in the trailer, they've spoken to actual civilians that were there as well, to try to get their input as well on it. I don't know how many people they've reached out to. Obviously, none of us work for the studio or anything like that. So to say, how many soldiers and how many civilians they've reached out to, and, whoever they know has covered this, we don't know. But it's a big part of their marketing that it's as... I hate using this word, but authentic as possible.
I think in this case that'd probably be the best case scenario.
No, it is, because the last thing you want is someone who has no idea what happened, getting things wrong, and then it comes across as disrespectful for the people who've been through it.
Yeah. And it's a bit of a tricky question. Like, is it okay to make a game about such a real and relevant tragedy? Because if there are still people alive today who are victims or even tangentially related to victims, you're dealing with someone's actual lived experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a really hard sell. That's a really hard sell for me to put into a game.
But it's similar to that game you mentioned, Josh, which I was about to say as well. This War of Mine. But instead of taking like into the perspective of the soldiers, it took the perspective of the civilians instead.
It did. This
Which
War of
was
Mine
different.
did have the distance of being ambiguous.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, when you're controlling civilians, civilians don't have much input on war. That's
No.
the thing. Is if you're a civilian in a war-torn country, there's not much you can do to prevent the war. You know what I mean? Because you're not in a position of government, or at least 99% of them won't be.
Yeah, that's kind of
you're,
the point.
You're not the commander of the army. You know, you just have to take whatever's thrown at you.
And
But
that game represents that sort of like theme as well, because the game in no shape or form is happy at all. It's also the fact that the civilians are there to survive, and that's the whole goal of that game.
yeah, but
Yeah.
it's like you say, the point of the game is survival. But in 6 Days in Fallujah, where you're actively taking the part of a soldier fighting, it's a bit, it's a bit different than just
It's
being a civilian. You know.
It's tough, yeah.
Yeah. What were you gonna say, Josh?
Look, I disagree with the idea that you should get the UN involved to ban a piece of media.
No, I agree.
That's
I
a
agree.
that's a big red flag, because you're asking basically, you're asking like a non-government body to enact, that's supposed to enact like real issues.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying this isn't an issue. I'm not trying to say that, and I don't want any kind of words being put in my mouth. But like, they're dealing with like the coronavirus pandemic, world hunger, poverty, like actual wars and civil conflicts.
And you want them to take time out of their day to ban this video game?
Yeah, you want them to take time out of their day to tell the world governments that this piece of media can't exist. Like, it's just not. I just don't think it's a good idea.
No.
I
If
mean,
anything, you should be asking the studio to stop.
the thing is, right, and I'm honestly not trying to offend anyone by saying this, but I don't know if there's really a right or wrong answer to it, because I feel like this game could be, like, yes, it'll be controversial. It was controversial from the minute it was announced that it was coming back. But I feel like this game could do some good in a way, where someone playing it someone who's playing it might actually understand why it was such a hard thing on the soldiers who were going through it as well. You know what I mean?
Look, I'm going to make now. I want to preface that I'm not familiar with the conflict. Like, I haven't done my research. But speaking in general, war is not good for anyone who's actively involved in it.
No.
And every perspective is interesting.
Yeah.
And I think that's the draw. Is that this War of Mine gives you the civilian role. Call of Duty, for what it's worth, does give you the idea of a soldier. Like, the Medal of Honor games give it probably a better idea of a soldier. But,
Battlefield as well.
yeah, just the idea is, war is like conflict, and games are built on conflict, because that naturally falls into how games are made. Like, there has to be some kind of problem to solve,
Yeah.
if you like get what I'm saying. And we've made war games for a very long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've made war games since the DOS era. We've made war games since the arcade era. It's been a very long time, and
Sorry.
it might be a bad idea to do this. It might be a good idea, but we don't know yet.
I think it depends on the person who buys and plays it. Honestly, like, will they process the message and get it into their heads, or will they just play it to think as if it was like a romanticized version of war?
Well, that
like
just
they usually play.
that just comes down to how, well the game is designed, in a sense. If a game can, like, get its message across, then it's well designed in that sense.
Yeah.
But the thing is, right, the reason I personally don't believe the game should be banned, and I've got one reason for that, is, according to everything they've shown and said, this game does not reward you for killing civilians or committing war crimes. You're fighting the Taliban. You're fighting terrorists.
Yeah.
You know, like the no Russian level in Modern Warfare 2 was controversial because you're literally just gunning down civilians in an airport.
Yeah, it's bad.
This-
it's pretty bad.
This game isn't doing that.
No.
Even the bit they show in the commercial where you go down to the family of four, it might cut abruptly, but we don't know if in game maybe there's some sort of penalty if you happen to shoot a civilian. You know what I mean? We don't know enough about whether the game will punish that, or we don't know enough about that. I think we have to wait for it to come out, and we'll see if there's any insensitive content in there.
Yeah.
That's what I believe, personally.
Yeah, no, definitely.
It wasn't just like, you know, the no Russian level as well in like Call of Duty. It's like not just Call of Duty. Don't forget Metal Gear Solid 5 had a section where you go to, I think it was like Africa or something, and you were able to shoot children in the head. But that game punished you actively for doing that. Like the game would immediately end if you did that shit.
Well, yeah,
Was that Metal Gear?
yeah.
Yeah, Metal Gear Solid 5.
Well, yeah, it's discouraging you from doing it. It's like in Hitman, right? In the Hitman games, you can kill everyone on the screen, including innocent people, but the game drops your score. It's actively penalizing you for doing the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Same thing in GTA. You start killing civilians, you get a 5-star wanted level. It's a way for the game to actively discourage you from doing it. It's... Look, I honestly think it's a touchy topic.
It is, definitely.
And to be honest, I don't know if there's objectively a right or wrong answer on this game right now. So I'm not going to sit there and say someone's right and someone's wrong.
Yeah. As I said before, it just depends on like the individual's morals.
Yeah. And look, if you honestly don't want to support this game in any way, sense, or, you know, whatever, don't buy it. You know, feel free to be vocal online or on Twitter or whatever about your, you know, displeasure that this game's being made. Like,
Or
just
just
go
don't
for
follow
it.
it at all.
But if there's one thing I would encourage between people who are for this game and against this game, it's discourse. I feel like if people can discuss things in a civil manner, then things can be sorted a bit better. You know what I mean? And there'll be a lot less yelling on either side.
Yeah. Walking away is also an option. Just don't follow the game at all. Like,
Yeah.
don't even
Yeah, you do
include it
have
into your
the
daily life.
option. As much as like it's like kind of a meme, you do have the option to not involve yourself in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the game itself is... I can't speak on the quality. I haven't played it. But judging by what they're saying and what they've shown, it's going for like a much more tactical... much more tactical style of gameplay over your standard like Call of Duty stuff. So already the game, I think, has a bit more of a niche audience than something with the, you know, wide
Yeah.
appeal of Call of Duty.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But look, I think that was a touchy topic. So I feel like there's something we can all unite on right now. Peter Dutton says Grand Theft Auto causes violence in kids.
Of course he does.
Yeah, no shit. Kids shouldn't even be playing that.
Well, he was talking about, right, he was talking about his children in particular. I believe he said he had a 13-year-old son who plays Grand Theft Auto, which Grand Theft Auto 5 is an R18 game. Solid parenting.
Solid parenting, my dude. You did it.
But at the same time, he's talking about how, not just in video games, but media and social media are very unfiltered these days. Like, whether it be in relation to drug use or violence or sex, he feels like he was talking about how it's unfiltered. And, you know, being on an app like TikTok could expose you to a whole bunch of things. And, you know, I understand what he's saying. And I have an absolutely foolproof way for Mr. Dutton to help with his kids. It's called Be a Good Parent and Teach Your Kids Right from Wrong. Simple.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why.
Like, I say this as someone who's played video games damn near my whole life. I'm 24 now, and I've been playing video games since I was like 5 or 6. I have
Not
never
sure.
once been arrested for a violent crime.
Yeah,
Right?
I'm not sure why everyone believes,
It
for
but-
some reason, that games are going to turn their children into monsters.
yeah,
But movies and books won't.
look, I honestly believe humans are violent by nature.
Yeah,
That- like,
of course
that's-
they are.
I don't think that's a controversial statement. As long as there are two people walking this earth, there will be an argument, there will be a fight, there will be a war. But to point at a specific piece of media and say, oh yeah, this causes violence, is ridiculous. It's even worse in this case because nothing's happened. Normally when people talk about the link between video games and violent actions, it's normally in the wake of some sort of event, some sort of tragedy, but nothing's happened. Really, we live in Australia. There's not been any mass shooting or school shooting that's happened recently to bring this topic up.
But here's the thing about
Don't tend
this,
to have
though.
those.
Here's the thing about this. When it comes to parents buying their kids violent games, and then wondering why their kid is a fucking, complete mess from the things they're exposed to, yeah, no shit, you've exposed them to, some of the worst shit possible. Whereas, they're not, instead of actually reading, a parental guide on the fucking cover, you decide to buy them the game. That's on you.
I've got something I want you to
Parents.
hear, right? I've got
No.
something I want you to hear. My neighbor, who lives a few doors down, he has a teenage boy, right? And
Right.
she was asking me about Grand Theft Auto 5. And because now he's starting to grow up, she's starting to allow him to play more mature games, and she's trying to teach him, more about the world and things like that. But she goes, one time her son had visited a friend a few years ago, and his friend had Grand Theft Auto 5. Now,
Right?
that boy now is still not 18. So a few years ago, he definitely wasn't 18 either, nor was his friend. And when my neighbor asked the other boy's mum, why is he playing Grand Theft Auto? It's quite a violent video game and your kid's quite young. She said, oh no, he told me it's a special version with no violence in it. And I could not believe that in this day and age, parents still can look at a box that says R18 plus on the front and still go, yeah, but he said there's no violence, so it should be good.
Why are you trusting your child to tell you what's in the thing?
Look, one thing I've always been, vocal in that video games don't cause violent behavior.
Yeah, they really don't, no.
And the one thing you can do as a parent is be informed and inform your kids. Look, I'm not saying the kids should wait till 18 to play Grand Theft Auto. I think 12, 13, 14, that's perfectly fine. I was playing violent video games from an even younger age. But my parents have always instilled in me what is right and wrong. I know that just because I go to ammunition in Grand Theft Auto, get a gun and start shooting people, I know that I don't look in real life and be like, okay, where's the nearest gun store in Sydney? You can circumvent so much of the blame that goes to video games if you just spend time with your kids. And if your kids are taking an interest in things you don't want them to, whether it be violence or drug use, you can talk to them. I say this as someone who's struggled with mental health, throughout my life. So much of it could have been avoided if my parents had known, what they were dealing with or what they can say to me. As parents, you need to be informed of whatever your kids are playing. And if they're playing something you think is a bit too mature for them, talk to them about it. Explain to them why it's mature. And look, I mean, let's be real. As a kid, you try to get away with whatever you want. Like that, every kid does that. No kid is an angel. So, if your kid wants to play Grand Theft Auto, tell them, okay, well, do you know why the characters are doing what they're doing, and just teach them. Teach them that these things do exist, and just teach them why they shouldn't do it in real life.
And most of all, be empathetic. You don't want to be that parent that just shits on what your kid likes.
Oh yeah, no, you don't want to be the parent.
Do not, for the love of God, lock it away in a safe and, try to hide it from your kids and try to hide, whatever the world has to offer from your kids. Because the moment they go to a friend's house, it's available.
Yeah, it's right there.
Even though as a parent you can control what's in your household for the most part, you can't control what happens the moment the kid's off the property. You know what I mean? Whether that be in school or, when they're at their friends' places, when they're, out in public. And we grew up I grew up in Western Sydney. And like, even at school, there was always drugs being passed around and shit like that.
Yeah, your kid could be an angel at home, but at school he's smoking durries.
Did you have to say durries?
Of course, we're Australian.
But, it's... Going back to Peter Dutton, right? I find it ridiculous that he's sitting there and he's saying, oh yeah, my teenage boy plays this and it's unfiltered. If he was informed enough to know that his kid's playing this and he sees what's going on, why didn't he stop his kid? Why didn't he put parental locks on whatever console he's playing on? Because both Sony and Xbox give you parental controls. Why doesn't he, talk to his kid about what's going on in the game? If your kid's, playing GTA Online and they're selling weed, why don't you talk to them about why they're doing it? Things like that.
Yeah.
I've always been open with my parents when I play games. I remember once, right, I was maybe 10 or 11 years old and I was playing Scarface The World Is Yours on the PS2. And there was a dedicated button for Tony Montana to just talk shit to people he killed. And my mum used to come in and, he's, walking around with a fucking M16 in one hand, I told you, don't fuck with me, it's...
Yeah, no.
It's
yeah,
great.
I'm
an 11-year-old kid. This is fucking great. But my parents never walked out of the room thinking, oh shit, our kid's going to be a drug dealer because he was playing a game about dealing drugs.
That's not how it tends to go down.
No.
But there have been, for argument's sake, let's look at his arguments that video games cause violence. There have been many, many studies and they've been from all around the world. We've seen it in countries with high murder rates, like the US, tackle this, and they've found no evidence in multiple studies by the American Psychiatric Association that video games have a link to violent tendencies or anything like that. In Japan has actually one of the it's an extremely dense place to live. There's so many people per square meter, and they have a lot of people who play video games. I think statistically in the developed world, Japan has more gamers per 100 people than any other developed country. Yet, certain crime rates are so low. Violent crime rates are extremely low. That's not to say they never happen, but they're extremely low. And, there's an extremely high chance that, anyone you meet in Japan could be a gamer. So, there's so many other factors as well. And,
the idea of an entire nation of gamers.
Even in Japan, I went to Japan and games aren't just marketed as games. Characters in games are used everywhere. You see Sonic on a wall when you walking past a bakery. You can see
Dragon Quest is in every single thing.
Dragon Quest, Animal Crossing when I went was fucking massive.
They now have a dedicated Monster Hunter Day.
I know they do. They took it. They just gave their workers the day off because so many of them called in sick.
That's actually amazing.
And before then, they have Dragon Quest Day because so many kids wagged school just to play Dragon Quest.
Yeah, over here we did that for Grand Theft Auto.
That's true, we did.
And Fallout 4, apparently.
I was actually legitimately hurt on when the day Grand Theft Auto came out. I was recovering from a car accident, so I wasn't in school. And the funniest thing was everyone thought I just like didn't show up because I wanted to play Grand Theft Auto. I didn't even go to pick up the game. I was literally in bed, and then I had people messaging me. They're like, "Oh wait, were you playing Grand Theft Auto?" I'm like, "No, I haven't been at school for the last week." Because it came out the literal last week of that term. So the 2-week holidays were right around the corner as well. Oh, man. Yeah, it's rare to see such a phenomenon like that.
Yeah. But have you guys ever like skipped school for a game before?
No.
No.
Okay.
No.
Neither have I. The only thing that came close is when I had to go to Sydney for family court, and I got Pokemon Black. That's just different though.
But like,
Yeah, Pokemon Black hits different.
Yeah, it does.
I mean, Josh, I don't know if Josh could have gotten away with it, but like, I'm Middle Eastern. You do not want to be telling Middle Eastern parents, I can't go to school because I want to watch, I want to go pick up a game.
Yeah, no, that would not have flown.
You would not live to see the game finish installing.
No, there'd be no way that would have flown.
Oh wait,
yeah.
hang on. I did skip class once to go get a game.
Now,
Part of me
did your
is in love
parents
with the
did
fact
your
that
parents
there's
know?
This realization.
I was an adult in this situation.
Oh,
This was Certificate 3 warehousing operations.
oh, you skipped like a TAFE course. That's fine.
Yeah, no. I did skip it. I went later. I was just extremely late because of the line. Well, not just joking. There wasn't a line.
Okay.
There was just a lot of people at the front.
Okay, what game was it?
Kingdom Hearts 3.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. It was Kingdom Hearts, which is your favorite series.
Oh yeah. I'd skip classes for that shit. Hell yeah. I'd skip days of work. Don't tell the bosses.
don't tell them I do that though.
Don't tell anybody about that. You heard nothing.
I do know people that have taken like days off work to pick up games. Actually, I think my mates took days off work to pick up consoles as well. I know a couple of people that have taken like
Jesus, man.
days off work to pick up the Xbox One when it came out.
I'd never take a day off work. I'd like go during lunch to go get it. Like wait with it in my car the entire day.
Oh man, I'd be fucking terrified to have like anything in my car, when it's that valuable. Like the day I picked up my PS5, I made sure that was the last thing I picked up before me and Louis went home.
Oh really?
I was just like, I am not leaving it anywhere else other than like in my hand.
Yeah, that shit shouldn't even touch the ground in a shopping mall.
It didn't. No, but I was happy when I picked it up. There was like, because I picked it up in the morning. I'd had a few errands to run before that, but everything was sort of like easily, done and out of the way. So I just rocked up to Sony's store in Parramatta, and this was like they had called people ahead of time to ask them like what time they were coming in, to obviously avoid like everyone coming in at 9 a.m. to pick it up. I was meant to get it at 10:30. I walked in there at 10 o'clock. I'm like, hey, I'm early. Can I pick up my PlayStation? They're like, yeah, sure. So, it was easy. But yeah, I was one of the lucky, I guess, 3 people that got a PS5 at launch.
God, yeah, PS5 really was hard to get at launch. Oh, fuck you.
It was tough for me to get it months later.
Well, I mean,
like gypped.
You know what? I feel like a couple months after it launched, it became even harder to get because everyone knew the scalpers were there, so the scalpers stepped up their game.
Yeah, it's true.
I missed out my first opportunity, and then the second opportunity I got it.
I mean, I remember, right? We have a group chat. There's 6 of us in this group chat. There's us 3. There's Dan, Jack, and Clinton. Sorry, there's 7 of us, and Ethan. And like 4 of us secured PS5s on the first day. And I remember none of us had said anything in the chat. And then Amp's like, oh man, did any of us get PS5s? And like me, Dan, Clinton, Jack, and Ethan were like, yeah, we did. And then Amp's like, fuck, I'm the only one that didn't get it.
But that months later, I did from the Good Guys, which is okay. We might as well tell this story.
All right, you go.
You go.
So, the Good Guys offered like a PS5, right? I think Sharps messaged me on this one.
Yeah.
I put my deposit on. About a day later, they said, "Oh, that was a mistake to put into the site, so we're gonna like reimburse you and give you $100 gift voucher," which was all well and good. I got my money back, and then I bought a fan with that voucher, a good fan. About a month later, the good guys messaged me while I was mowing the lawn, and I put my deposit on again, and that's when I got the PS5 for real. So when they sent me a message saying, "Oh, it's on the way," I was like, "Fuck yeah!"
Amp was like sitting by the front door waiting for it.
Oh no, I was in class, but so I actually ran home for that day from class.
You know,
But
Brendan's
what?
mouth.
But while I got that message saying that it's on its way, I decided to screenshot the old email saying that I didn't get it to the group chat. Except I cropped it a little bit because I told them earlier when I lost it the first time. So it makes it look like it's a bit recent. Shabs was the first one to respond and say, "Oh shit, I'm sorry, bro. Oh no."
I felt so fucking bad for him.
The funniest part of that, Amp, is the fact that that was Charbel's exact plan he was going to do on you.
Okay, so I'll tell my side of it. A day before, right? So this is after the initial failure from the good guys to actually get PS5s, because the issue was they failed to secure some from memory. And so as a joke, I was talking to a few of the other boys, and I'm like, "Oi, how funny would it be if I messaged Amp and I'm like, Amp, it's happened again. Like the good guys have fucked up and whatever." And the funny thing is, our mate Andrew was like, "Oh yeah, do it." And I was gonna get an article, the same article I think Press Start released, where it was like, "Oh, the good guys, had a mistake in their system. They couldn't get PS5s." And I was just gonna crop the date out to see if Amp would notice it. I was gonna send it to him. And then Andrew wants to take it one step further. He goes, "Give me his number, I'll call him," and I'll be like, "Oh, I'm Andrew from the Good Guys, and I'm just calling to let you know we haven't been able to get a PS5 for you." And then Amp hopped on that night, and he was like, "Man, I had such a shit day." And me being the good fucking friend I am, I decided not to pull the trigger on the prank. Then he does the same thing to me.
Very, very
So
funny.
basically, I sent him that email saying, "Oh, I lost it. Oh no." And then Shabs was like, "Oh shit, bro. I'm sorry."
I didn't even activate my plan yet.
I legit felt fucking bad. And the worst thing was, when he'd ordered it the second time, I joked a couple times. I'm like, "Hey, Amp, I hope they don't fuck you over again." So when I thought it had happened, I was like, "Oh shit, I'm so sorry, Amp."
It was very funny. I was
messages.
laughing.
3 messages after Shabs said, "Oh shit, I'm sorry," I said, "Dude, I'm fucking with you. It's coming." And then he said, "Wait, what?"
Yeah.
Fuck you, bro.
Yeah, I was like, I hope a fucking PS4 shows up or some shit.
And Josh was like, "You fell for your own prank."
Yeah, because...
Congrats, you played yourself.
Oh, fuck off. Fuck both of you, man.
Oh, I played you like a piano.
Played you like the cheap gazoo you are.
While we're talking about this, right? We did a take just before this we had to scrap because Josh was having audio issues and I hadn't adjusted my mic properly. But I was an asshole to Amp, right? In the intro, as a joke, obviously. And I was an asshole to Josh. But when we redid the take, I said, Shoddy not doing the fucking intros again. And then Josh did it. Out of the goodness of my heart, I could have said something to embarrass those boys again. But let the record show I'm a fucking top mate. And they won't deny it.
Alright, fine. You're forgiven for now.
For now.
For now.
Alright.
You are forgiven, my son.
You are forgiven, my son.
Me and Amp actually had a bit of a joking argument. Because we were talking about... I can't remember how this started. But I said something and then Amp made a comment where he goes, "So what you're saying is basically certain types of games shouldn't exist." As a joke, I'm like, "Yeah, RPGs shouldn't exist." And Amp's like, Amp lost his shit. And he goes... It's like, well, me and him are going back and forth about this shit. And I brought up you know how in certain games like XCOM, you know, you can be like 1 square away from the enemy you're targeting, and it'll still only have like a 98% chance of hitting, and you might miss.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, that's garbage. When I play Call of Duty, if I'm a meter away from someone and I'm pointing the gun at them and I shoot, the bullet hits them. That's
Right.
just how it works. That's how it should work. Like, honestly, I can't play RPGs because I would get so annoyed if, like, it'll be a do or die moment and I know the game is about to fuck me. If I have, like, 1 turn left. It's like Pokemon. The enemy will be on 1 HP, I'll have 1 HP, I'll throw out the safest attack possible, and it'll somehow miss.
Or they use full restore.
They pull a stone, you're like, nope!
Oh, fuck.
Dude,
I think
get you,
at the end. Oh, sorry, Josh. Sorry.
I get you, man. Some people just can't play RPGs, you know? They're small IQ people.
Small IQ people, you say?
Tiny IQ.
Oh,
Yeah.
fuck off, Josh.
Single
fucking
digit.
This bloke.
monkey brain.
Monkey.
Hey, are you saying that just because I picked Groki in fucking Pokemon?
Absolutely.
Yeah, reject modernity, return to monkey.
Groki is the superior starter. I will
Monkey
not...
is pretty great.
It is. It is. Yeah, so I picked up Sword and Shield. Well, I picked up Shield. And I'm not gonna lie, it's the first Pokemon I've played since Gen 1. So it took me a long time before I actually pulled the trigger on buying it, because I'm like, oh man, should I go back and play the others first? You know, all that shit. Like, eventually, I think I spoke to Josh, and I'm like to Josh, hey Josh, is this thing like easy to get into if you haven't played like the games in years? He goes, dude, it's fucking easier because there'll just be so much more shit for you to do.
Yeah, the fan base just doesn't like the fact that it's easier.
You don't have, like, from the perspective, you have like the best entrance to the game. You don't give a shit if Pokemon got cut because you didn't know who they were anyway.
Yeah.
You don't give a shit about all the new or old mechanics not making it in. You're just going to enjoy the game for it being a game. And Sword and Shield is fun. And has the best part of the Pokemon cipher rap.
You don't even have to grind for so long anymore for each individual Pokemon.
No, it's the easiest by far game to get back into Pokemon. It's the most convenient, and the story is pretty solid. And yeah, it's fun. It's just fun.
Yeah,
Hmm?
sorry, I was just going to say, I remember, I think you were telling me, Josh, Emerald was absolute garbage, right? Am I correct in saying that?
Yes, absolutely. Emerald is bad. If I say that loud enough, I might have to sleep on the couch.
Nah, okay. To be fair, we're just saying Emerald is shit because it's like Amp's favourite game.
It is Amp's favourite.
It's Amp's favourite Pokemon.
Pokemon. Yeah.
I'm a Gen 2 boy, but soft spot for Gen 4.
Actually, Gen 4 is where I started, so my favorite is either between Omega Ruby and Platinum.
Yeah. Eventually, one day, we'll have to play the Pokemon Ranger games.
Oh, the spinny.
Those are some good boys.
So,
Anyway, so Charbel, give us, like, how is your Sword and Shield experience going?
so far, it's fantastic. I won my first battle.
Yeah?
So I'm thinking about retiring and never playing the game again and finishing with a 100%
It's just
completion.
disappointing Hop in more than one way.
I have so...
If you do that, he would actually become the champion. It would be hilarious. It's like, yeah, but you lost to me there.
Charles, you have the entire game to disgrace this poor boy.
I know, it felt... Sword and Shield was the first game where I felt legitimately bad for a character. I was like, oh.
Yeah, I love...
Hop, please don't.
I love that first battle where Hop's like, I'm going to be an undefeated champion too. And I'm just imagining the John Cena meme where he pops out and he's like, are you sure about that?
Yeah, no, that's... I feel bad because Hop has like one of the most compelling journeys of any Pokemon character. The whole like, I don't have to live up to the legacy of my brother. It's like really cool. And people just couldn't get over the fact that like I felt really bad for repeatedly kicking the shit out of this boy.
So you know how
Because
you're
every
in
time
school,
we come to, he gets more depressed every time.
So you know how you're in school, right? You got you're like, you know, maybe you're a part of the top 5, and then there's the top 1 that you can't surpass at all. That's you.
That's you. And Hop, unfortunately, is an F-grade student.
Yes.
My dude, I
He's
feel so
Ronald
bad.
Weasley of the game.
Dude,
The
I love
Ronald
Hop.
Weasley?
Yes.
Okay, Hop, every time you beat Hop, he gets a little more depressed and disheveled, and he just comes at you like near the end of the game and he's like, let's just fight, I know you're gonna win anyway.
Oh
And then
man,
you win
oh,
again,
I
and
feel
then you
so.
win again, and he's like, oh my god, this didn't make it any better.
I think I might purposely throw that fight.
Yeah, I know, but the fact is, I do find, I wish they had let you, like, if you lose a Hop fight, he just gets a little happier.
There's just like a meter in the game.
It's like, how depressed is Hop is how did you throw the fight?
Oh man.
He wants to be the very best that no one ever was.
I had
That's why
I was doing a Nuzlocke and I got to one of the Hop fights where he was super depressed and then he kicked the shit out of me. I was like, I'm going to imagine that because the game had to end there, that Hop just got like his like a second wind.
But like, was he happy when he beat you?
Yeah, he seemed pretty thrilled, honestly.
It's like when you let your like little sibling or like little cousin win at something,
And then they're like, "Oh my god, you suck at this," and you lean forward.
and you're like,
You unleash your true power.
"Boy, time for the second phase of this battle."
Bro, I did that to a visitor once here on like I think it was like a party at my house, and this little kid was like versing me in Smash Bros.
And
I was going easy on him, and then he was starting to mock me.
Your ego could not take that.
Then I thought, how dare you?
Uh,
So I just unleashed my true power and whooped his ass.
And it's like, I'm gonna end this man's whole career.
I really like the pettiness of that. It's like, I was playing Smash and this little kid beat me and then he was like, he was getting a bit on his high horse, so I had to smack him down a bit.
I'm just like imagining like this kid crying, walking out the door, and it's just like, yeah, get the fuck out of here with that weak stuff.
Trust me, if I ever had a kid and he tries that shit on me,
I love the idea of you with your own child. Like, man, Dad, I can't believe I beat you at this game. And you're just like, now, son, we're about to learn how bullshit Bowser is.
it's like, I'm better than you, Dad. Are you sure about that?
You are not.
Oh man. Can you honestly which one of us do you think has the least patience for that?
Probably gonna go with
me.
F. Yeah, probably gonna go with
Yeah,
F.
I'll go with them. Oh man, I legitimately can't believe this kid mocked you and you just went, "Nani?"
Because out of everyone here, I am the most foul-tempered person.
I like the idea of a little kid being just like, "Oh man, I beat you at this game. You must suck," and you're like, "Oh, kuruka."
You know how those memes, those eyes flash like really red, and it's like.
I
That was
imagine
me.
it's like the basketball memes where they like make them go Super Saiyan.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm only saying this shit just because I know that Clinton will add in clips if he finds them funny enough.
Last few videos we've had Clinton editing them, and
He's been
fucking
doing a
fantastic.
bang-up job. He's been doing a bang-up job.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, okay, I've got to like slowly sneak in like things where he's like, fuck, now I've got to put in a clip.
Like suggestions.
Are you just trying to make his job as difficult as possible now that we have a long weekend coming up?
No, if I wanted to do that, I'd just start referencing really obscure shit.
Yeah, like putting faces on our mannequins in like the video. Oh no.
No, don't do that.
No.
Okay. If we're gonna put faces on each of the mannequins.
Okay, so this isn't strictly game related, right? But I brought up at the start of this Goosh Goosh, right?
Goosh goosh.
I was asked to watch that by Clinton. And what the fuck? Like, is there ever an idea in anime that doesn't get made?
How do you spell goosh?
Just GOOSH.
Goosh.
It's
So I'm gonna tell you after I see what this is.
okay. Heads up, it's a mature content thing on YouTube, so make sure you're signed in.
Oh, that. No. Is this the one where he fucking picks up the fucking person and crushes them to death?
No. Crushes something, but no.
Just watch to the end. Watch to the end.
Yeah, no, I've seen this. This is fucked. What is this from?
I don't know. You know what's funny? The premise. I don't remember the name of it, but I looked up the anime, and the premise is it's about like gang wars in Tokyo and shit like that.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's an interesting premise. It's a premise that would make me almost consider watching that show. Thank fuck I didn't, because I would not want to see that shit.
No, I seen this. This is on one of those most brutal deaths compilation, which was just like berserk and then this.
The only good thing that came out of it, right, was the top comment. If you look, someone's like, expectation snoo snoo, reality goosh goosh.
No. Oh my god!
Yeah.
Why are half? If you look up goosh goosh, half of the fucking things are Diavolo memes.
D what?
Diavolo.
Divolo.
Part 5M.
Oh.
What is goosh goosh NTR? Why is that one of the recommended things?
While we're on the topic of anime, you know the current situation in the Suez Canal with that ship?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I watched an animation. Someone animated how it happened, and someone put the deja vu from Initial D over it. And it is one of the best videos I've seen recently. It's fucking
I saw
fantastic.
one of my favorite things from that is I saw it's like how we're gonna fix this, and then Goku fucking lifts the thing.
I've seen someone like make a pic of it, where it's just an anime girl being the ship, and she's like, "Are you gonna fix me, Builder-san?"
Oh god.
Have you guys seen the fact that the side of the ship, one of the sides, the crates clearly look like the Lost comic?
No.
Oh no, I did not notice that. Let me
Yeah,
have
if
a
you look at one
this.
of the, you look up the ship and then Lost, and then you'll see it.
Evergreen ship. Yeah, the Evergreen.
Yeah, Evergreen
Alright.
ship and then Lost.
Evergreen ship. Lost.
I'm sure Clinton's got it up.
Lost meme.
Yes.
Let me have a look.
Okay, is it wrong to say I've never seen Lost?
You've never seen Lost?
No.
Not the show Lost. It's a meme called Lost.
Oh, no. No, I was referring to the show.
No. It's a meme.
Oh.
One of the thing is, it was by oh god. Okay, it was a very old
Control,
web
Alt,
comic.
Delete,
Yeah,
I
Control Alt
think.
Delete. Thank you. Which is basically what they were doing is they made it a sprite comic. So they just drew all the characters beforehand, and just like kind of moved around their limbs since it was all like detachable images.
Mm.
One of the comics he ended up making was about his, I guess, a miscarriage that he experienced with like his wife or girlfriend. But it's like so jarring, and everyone was like, "Well, this is the funniest thing ever." And now, because of the paneling is really simple, like and people just made it into a huge thing. I feel almost bad in retrospect because it was like, apparently that was real, and he actually did like experience a miscarriage. And now it's one of the biggest jokes on the internet.
Yeah, the internet will make a joke out of anything.
Oh, it will, but like very rarely do you get timeless memed.
But wasn't that comic like usually comedic? And
Yes, it was. That's why it was so jarring. Like it just came out of nowhere.
Ouch.
Yeah, ouch.
I think we should wrap it up. What do you boys think?
Yeah, I think we can wrap it up. Oh wait, hold on. We gotta decide what heads are gonna go on the mannequins.
What? Wait, what? Oh.
All right. For Amph, he can be Raditz.
Hell yeah.
Wait, what's F?
I'll be Edward Elric, and Charbel can be Gush Gush, and that's
No, I will
all
not
for,
be Gush Gush.
That's all
No.
for the Sandbar podcast.
Fuck off. Clinton, I know you're going to hear this because you're editing. Do not make me goosh goosh.
Clinton, do it for the memes.
Do not do it for the fucking meme.
Do it for the memes. Just Gush Gush's head right on top of it, and make sure it's like a smiling Gush Gush, like a satisfied Gush Gush.
And F,
Do it.
F, don't fucking encourage him. No.
Do it.
No.
It's gonna be Raditz, Edward Elric, and their good friend Gush Gush. All right, good night, everybody. Glad you could join us.
Clinton, make me something respectable. Okay, signing off. Bye.
Haha, signing off.
Bye.